Okay, so the game here is Message to the Czar. This is an older light Euro, and it just seems like a good idea to do something like this in between games of, well, I did the larger thing with Andy and Abyss, and I've been doing Chariots of Fire. I want to fit some other little things in, trim the pile down a little bit. So, this is actually a fairly simple game. I'm going to try to get it all on one video. The basic concept is you're going to have this little message, and it starts down here in this village, and you have to travel with it up until you get up here, and then you have to bribe a guard in order to get the message into the Kremlin or whatever. Okay. The actual theme of the game isn't that important, although, you know, it kind of suits it. But the play is probably what people are interested in with something like this. So on your turn, well, first of all, you set up the game, and I'm going to be playing with 5 players. And you do the setup by flipping a counter over, your top counter, and this is going to be some dude, and he's going to have your message, and he has to go in one of these spaces. It doesn't really matter which one with the first character placed. And I'm going to be working counterclockwise as I always do. Now these are shuffled, and they're different on each one. And then you'll draw another courier to form your discard pile, because you're going to always have a choice between the dude you have available and the things that you've already passed by. If you haven't used them for some reason, they'll be up. So you always have this one that you know what you can do with, or you can take a chance with the draw pile. Now during the game itself, what you're going to do is one of 5 things, I guess. Is it 5? 4 things. One of the options is to place a new courier somewhere down here in the village. And to do that, you either pick one of the discards or your current one, and you can place him in any empty space that he fits in. Now you notice this guy only fits in this top right space. This guy only fits in the top bottom space. And there's 4 different spaces here. There are some restrictions on how you can place him, though. You cannot place him if all the rooms are occupied, which in this game means all but one of the rooms, for whatever reason. Their way of wording that. Basically, you're allowed to occupy 3 rooms out of 4 in any of these inns. And that can be with other people's pieces as well. Let's get somebody else out. Now, he's got an interesting situation where he could play his piece in any of these buildings, but he's going to choose to do this one, because that opens up an opportunity, which we'll see in a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's wise. We'll do it anyway, and he flips this over. And that'll give us enough to play with a few pieces. Okay. So if you draw a piece from here that you cannot play down here after the initial setup for your first turn, for this option of placing a courier, well, that's too bad, and it just gets added to your discard pile. It gives you more options to look at, but it's one reason why you may not want to draw, even if you have a suboptimal choice that works. The second thing that you can do is you can hand off your message. 2 people in the same village of the same player's type, you can take an action to move the message from one of them to the other. And they don't have to be in the same building or anything, they just have to be in the same village. The third is traveling to the next village. In the event that you're in a full building, one that has 3 couriers in it. And we can get kind of an example of that here. I don't want to break up my starting setup. Then you may choose to trigger that building to move up to the next village. And what happens is you look to the empty space, the guy next to that will go up, and the guy next to him will go up. So these 2 would be triggered to go up, and that's good for blue. They would probably be the one making that action. If it was this space that was filled instead, it would be these 2 that went up. Now obviously I can't fill it with this, I'd have to use the correct piece for that. When they go up, they follow the same kind of placement rules that they did at the starting level, but they must go to different buildings. So you can't just slide this strong position back into play. You have to spread them out into different places. Same rules apply. No more than 3 people per building. You have to be in the right location, all that. It's possible, and the person who makes the move chooses where they go and the order they go there. It's possible that there's no room for you at the inn, in which case you have, never mind. In which case, you get to skip on to the next village, and that can go on ad infinitum. If there's no space at any of the villages, you can skip up right up to the top victory position. And that's kind of what you're trying to do, is set the board up so that you can jump up quickly. I don't think I'm going to be able to do the entire game on the same video as I do the rules. I'm taking my time on these. Okay. What other options do we have? Those are the main ones of the game. If you move up from here, you go up to the dude, the guard, who's just above the building that you moved up from. So it behooves you to put yourself underneath this guy, who's the cheapest to bribe, compared to these guys. If you skip your way up, you go to one of the 10s. It may specify which one. No. Okay. Once you move up there, as soon as you hit there, you get to do a bribe a guard. And at the beginning of the game, there are going to be a bunch of these little stars in the sky. And when you bribe a guard, in fact, this is what you must do once you get your message up there. Other pieces that get shot up here get put underneath your deck. If they're not, but your message itself gets left with one of the guards, and you have to keep bribing them. Now, it doesn't really matter, because once your message is up with the guard, you're done playing here. So you're not going to be pulling those pieces. Okay, so when you bribe the guard, which is when you first go up there or on any other turn after that, you turn over one or more of these little coins and place them face up in the palace. As long as you turn over ones that say 0, 1, 2, or 3, you can continue. Let's see, my message is here. You can continue drawing. But if you draw and yet, you failed. This is kind of a push your luck type mechanism, and all the coins that you turned over this turn up here go back in the box. However, let's say I turned this over and said that's good enough, I can put it here, and that counts as my bribe. I collect them and put them over near me, and once I match this number or exceed it, I've won the game. Alright. We're going to do a separate playthrough video, separate play video instead. But I'll finish the setup and then we'll get started.